Boy, I sure do love taking pictures of Pokemon. But if only I could do it in a video game. You know what I'm saying? Despite spending 5.5 years of my life talking about Pokemon on the internet, I honestly never spent much time at all on the spin-off games. This wasn't some unfortunate coincidence either. It can mostly be chalked up to a lack of trying. I just don't really find myself liking most of them. I have fond memories of Rumble, Conquest, maybe even Ranger, but I didn't like Dash, I didn't like Duel, I don't like Masters, I don't even like Mystery Dungeon, and Heihea Pikachu is Heihea Pikachu. Ironically, the only one I've never really got around to touching in my life is Snap. Arguably the most beloved and nostalgic one. Popping this game in, my first question was, is there anything more to this? Despite never playing it, I knew that you move slowly on rails through a map populated with Pokemon and then Oak insults you at the end, but is that all there is to it? The answer to that is, yeah, pretty much. I wish I could say I'm joking, but I'm not. About an hour into my playthrough, I started to get really worried that this game was too simple to even make a video on, but here I am making it regardless. Obviously the best place to begin in talking about Pokemon Snap is the most important aspect, the story. You see, it goes a little something like this. Take pictures. You're a young kid who loves Pokemon, and because of that, Professor Oak invites you to Pokemon Island. He entrusts you with the Pokemon report, so that you can fill it with pictures of Pokemon. Riding in the 01, likely named after its top speed, you visit 7 different locations on Pokemon Island in an attempt to snap the best, we'll get to that later, Poke pictures you can. Aiding you on your quest is your unlimited supply of items like Pokemon food and Pester Balls. The former can be used to lure Pokemon out and smack them in the face, and the latter pretty much just smacks them in the face, but sometimes with bonus effects. Our main character Todd will bring millions of these things into a mission and just throw them like a madman, but he will be dead in the ground before he brings more than one roll of film. There's also the Poke Flute, but it's nowhere near as generally useful as the previous items. My only real description of it is that it's the do whatever we need it to for this level button. Our courses consist of a beach, a tunnel with an abandoned power plant in it, a volcano, a river, a cave, a valley with a river running through it, and Rainbow Road. Yeah, these aren't particularly interesting in my opinion. The clear standout is definitely Tunnel because at least it has an idea, but it also just kind of makes me wish the rest of the courses weren't so generic. One thing I can at least appreciate is that they all feel satisfyingly unique. Even if the themes themselves are boring, show me any screenshot and I'll know exactly which course it's from. This is from Hot Wheels Beat That, you can't fool me. This even extends to the types of Pokemon that can be found there. The beach focuses on normal flying and bug types, the tunnel focuses on electric types, the volcano focuses on fire types, the river focuses on water and grass types, the valley focuses on rock and ground types, and the cave is just kind of weird. Really feels like they just said, hey, what do we got left? In order to progress through the game and unlock all the items, you'll have to play most of these courses multiple times. This annoyed me at first, but then I realized that replaying them is kind of the point, and on these replays I found that the game is actually jam-packed with little secrets and Easter eggs. Some of them are pretty standard, like using Pokemon food to lure out a Bulbasaur in the river, while some of them are a little more clever, such as luring Slowpoke over to a spot where a Shelter can grab its tail and cause it to evolve. Then you've got knocking Pikachu out of Zubat's grip and waking up Articuno right after so Pikachu runs over and climbs on his back, and then they fly away together, which results in a potential picture that gives you tons of bonus points. Before you ask, no, I didn't find this one on my own. Counter question, could I possibly have? I understand wanting the secrets to be, you know, secret, but when you get to the point where you're saying, just throw a fruit at this gap between Kakuna, then enter the Konami code and flip the footage 180 and Crash Bandicoot will appear for 1 frame, it goes a little too far in my opinion. Regardless, I actually love these, and they're probably my favorite parts of each level. Even if it's just a simple one like finding a hidden Pokemon in the grass, there's little that can top how glorious it feels to have such pure curiosity rewarded in such a satisfying way. But let's talk about the actual act of taking pictures, as in the controls. Using Z and A for pictures is a great idea. It's comfortable, it allows every action to be on an easily accessible button, I love it. But moving the camera around is just never gonna feel amazing with an analog stick. Sometimes the activation requirements for a scene are just so far from where your camera needs to be for the shot that the sluggish pace it moves at feels painful. On the other hand though, if it went too fast, that wouldn't be much better, so I guess I'm basically just complaining that the N64 doesn't have motion controls, which obviously is not fair. Speaking of things moving at sluggish paces, this video, I mean Jesus Christ, the 01 is not a fast machine. Though you wouldn't guess that based on the eardrum deleting screech it lets out every time it stops. Eventually you unlock the dash engine, which gives you the ability to move faster, and don't get me wrong, it's a godsend. I just always find myself wishing these types of mechanics were available from the get-go. Hey, remember earlier when I said, in an attempt to snap the best, we'll get to that later. Well, here we are. The elephant in the room, and many people's, myself included, #1 complaint about this game is 100% the AI that determines whether Professor Oak likes your picture or not. He supposedly judges them based off of 4 factors: size, pose, technique, and special. Technique points are increased by having the Pokemon in the middle of the frame, and special points come from those Easter eggs I mentioned earlier, like getting a picture of Pikachu on a surfboard or Jigglypuff singing. Size and pose, though, I couldn't even begin to explain. I give him an action shot of Charizard literally melting the skin off my body, and he's like, I don't know about this one. Is that half a Magikarp? Is there anything else you could possibly say about Pokemon Snap? To be honest, my expectations weren't super high going into this, but I had a pretty good time overall. There's just something so undeniably charming about this game, and I got some pictures along the way that gave me some pretty serious laughs. One of the most common Pokemon Snap conversations nowadays is the possibility of it getting a remake on the Switch, since you could move the whole console around as the camera. And of course I want this, are you kidding me? Although, given how relatively quickly you can see everything there is to see in this game, I think it's a concept that is just ripe for a sequel that includes Pokemon from all 8 current generations. The original just had so much going for it already. I mean, there's a slow-moving vehicle, ear murder, Pidgey colonoscopies, actual death, but this game's got everything!